In this video, I want to talk about a lecture or question that Neville Goddard answered, and it is referring to quibbles. And quibbles are beliefs, and this is where Neville Goddard does address limiting beliefs, self-imposed beliefs, those kind of things. And it's also coming from one of my viewers' questions, and she asked me to speak about quibbles in food. That there's so many, she says, so many rules, this is her quote now, there's so many rules that are forced upon us about food and what we should eat, what we shouldn't eat. But this isn't just about food. This is about all types of rules or beliefs that you are telling yourself that are being forced upon you. So I really want to, I love this topic, and that word quibbles has just been so funny to me. And it's so evident that Neville did address limiting beliefs and assumptions and rules, and how Abdullah responded to him and how he handled his coaching client, right? Because that's what Abdullah was. He was Abdullah's coach, or Neville's coach or teacher, for almost 5 years, learning Hebrew and learning the Bible with him. So let's get into that in this video. I know you're going to love it. It's going to really resonate with you, not just about food, but all kinds of rules and beliefs. And you're going to see what the whole message was behind Abdullah's conversation with Neville. So yes, Peter's part of it. Okay, so let's get to it. But before we get started, my name is Rose, and welcome to The Rosey Life, and where we help you free your mind and follow your heart so you can live a life that you love. If you're interested in working one-on-one with me, or you would like to be part of the Rosey Life course and community, you can go to RoseyLife.com. I also want to make a special announcement that I just released a course called The One, and it is for anyone, if you're new or you're having a difficult time understanding what imagination is and how powerful it is, why you are able to manifest, why all these techniques that different people talk about work. It's the why. It's why. Where is the imagination? Why does it work? Those kind of questions. So it's really to give you a strong foundation just specifically on the topic of imagination, because it's something that a lot of people skip when coming into learning the law, and they go right into technique and how to get something, and not understanding why they're so powerful and why imagination is and where it is. And that's what I talk about in that course. And again, that course is called The One, and you can find that on my website as well, and I'll link the link below as well. Okay, so quibbles. So in the end of a lecture, Neville Goddard addresses questions, and he talks about Abdullah, who was his teacher for many, many years. And Abdullah was also the teacher of other people like Dr. Joseph Murphy. He was a teacher for a lot of Hebrew rabbis. They would come to him and learn from him because he was very well versed in the Bible. And one of those conversations that Neville talked about is he would watch Abdullah eat and eat. He would eat like steak and potatoes and then ice cream, but first he'd have beer and then like glasses of whiskey, and then after dinner he would have more whiskey. And Neville at that time was, I believe he was a vegetarian, and he looked at Abdullah and he said, and this is what he says. He looks at Abdullah and he says, and this is Neville, how can you do that? Like, how can you eat all that damn food? How can it like not hurt your body, or how does it not make you fat? Whatever the intention was. And Abdullah's response was this: you couldn't do it, Neville. It would poison you because you have quibbles. But you know God made everything. Everything is God. You assume he made some things and not the rest. Okay, so right there, he is saying to Neville, he said, You can't eat like I do. You can eat whatever you want. You can indulge and just enjoy everything because you have quibbles, meaning you have assumptions or beliefs that you can't eat certain things. Okay, this is what he was telling him. And he said, but he tells Neville, as a teaching moment, you do know God made everything. Everything. That God, he says that God is everything. He says you assume he made some things and not the rest. He's saying you assume he made vegetables and fruit, for example, maybe fish, right? But you assume he didn't make the donuts and the carbs and the bread and the cinnamon rolls and the soda. Or you assume that he didn't make margaritas. You assume he didn't make cake and lasagna and spaghetti, right? You assume he didn't make those things. You just assume he made all the light things, the keto things, the things that are vegan, vegetarian, organic. You assume that he only made those things. Those are the good things, and everything else are the bad things. Do you see? That's what he's telling Neville. He said, you're chopping up, you're separating what God is. You're saying God is these things, these food groups, but God is not those food groups. So your assumption is creating a separation, and that's why you can't eat those other food groups, because it would poison you, because now you've made an assumption that those foods are going to harm your body, or you'll throw up, or they're disgusting, right? All the labels, all the definitions that he was giving them. However, that wasn't the end of that conversation. That wasn't where Abdullah left it. He told Neville, he said, God made everything and God is everything. And then he sent Neville off and told him to go read the book of Acts. So Neville goes to read the book of Acts. And he says in the book of Acts, this is addressing Peter. And it says, Peter is told by Spirit, slay and eat. That which I have cleansed, I have cleansed. Okay, so in the Bible, in Hebrew, slay is sacrifice. Okay, to slay something is to sacrifice. And sacrificing is all life is divine. Okay, that all life is divine, not just some. In other words, here they're referring to, because Peter grew up in a Jewish, in Hebrew home, and that's what he was taught. So he was taught not to eat certain foods or eat common foods or hang out with the Gentiles. And so this is where Peter was coming from. But also remember, Peter in the Bible symbolizes faith. So he is being told to go slay and eat. In other words, sacrifice, and to see that all life is divine. In other words, to not just the Spirit, God is not just in certain food groups or certain people like priests or rabbis or certain people, but that God is in all, including the Gentiles, which symbolizes all else, people, all people. Okay, so not just some, right? So he's saying right there to Peter that you are to be with other people, that you are to commune with all people, that everyone is one, that God is everything. Everything is God. Everyone is God. Not just the Jews, not just certain political people or religious people, but that God is everything. And that you're separating it with your assumptions, your rules, your beliefs. And that instead, he says to slay and eat, meaning to partake, enjoy everything, because what I have cleansed, I have cleansed. God is all. That God is the all. There is nothing unholy. That there is nothing wrong. There is nothing bad. That all people are God. That all things are God. That everything is divine. All life is divine. Everything is divine. Everything is God. So there is nothing that is wrong or bad for you. It is only the assumptions that you give them rules and imply. And I know because I watch a lot of like Instagram health fitness people, or on TikTok, and influencers telling you to eat certain things and not other things, and that if you're over a certain age that you have to restrict this kind of food from your diet. Or there's so much content and information right out there. However, remember, you're only going to see on your Instagram feed or TikTok or YouTube or on Facebook, you're only going to see what reflected back to you what you believe is true. So if you see a lot of things telling you to restrict certain foods because of health, because of your body, because of this, all of that is just reflecting your beliefs. And to try to figure out every single one of your beliefs, right? You're like, oh my God, what about this related to a health issue? Or what about this related to dieting? Or what about that? Or what about donuts? Like, okay, yeah, you can say that you can't have 100 donuts every day. And if I believe I want to have 100 donuts every day and I don't get fat, then that's so be it, right? And maybe everyone else is going to be like, oh, good luck with that. You're sugar or diabetes or whatever. Do you see? Those are all rules that you will have your peanut gallery enforcing you and saying, yes, you're right, you can't do that. You'll have evidence of that showing up in your Instagram feed. You will Google it, and whatever you Google, remember, that too is your evidence. I might Google something and see something completely different because my reflection is on my personal beliefs. What you Google is going to reflect whatever your beliefs are. So there's no common knowledge about food or about what you can have or what you can't have or what is good or what is bad. Those are all rules because remember, God is everything. God is everything. All life is divine. That is everything. That includes human beings, that includes animals, that includes the things that are on this earth. That means everything. It doesn't literally, and even it says, it doesn't literally mean go kill everything that's walking around and eat it. It's not what it's saying. It's saying that all life is divine, and that not one thing is good, that all is good. And if you don't want to eat meat, then don't eat meat. If you want to eat meat, then eat meat. There's no bad, there's no good, there's no right, there's no wrong. It's you selecting whatever you choose to believe. If you think that certain things are going to make you fat, then they will. If you think that a certain lifestyle is bad, if you think that whatever it is, and again, it's not only related to food, it's related to people, relationships, careers, work, diet, exercise, whatever your assumptions are, okay, that is it. And if some people say, okay, well, I'm gonna eat cake for a whole month and see what happens, you're not believing. Do you see? You can do that if you have that belief that all life is divine and all is good. If you believe that, then yeah, it will be effective. But if you're doing it to say, I'm going to do it, but inside you already expect to get fat anyway because you really don't believe it, then there you go. So it's all in your assumption. Everything comes down to your assumption. Everything comes down to your knowing and remembering that all is good. So instead of trying to figure out which beliefs you have that are no good or that you want to get rid of this belief, or go to exactly what Abdullah was telling Neville, right? That all life is divine, right? Not just some of it, but all of it. And that which I have cleansed, meaning, and it is good. Remember, even at the beginning of the Bible, when God said, and God created the heavens and the earth, God created everything and saw that it was good. And it is good. He has cleansed everything, meaning everything is good. You are the only one that can impose rules or limitations on what you desire. This includes your manifestations, whatever it is you want. You know, if anybody tells you can't have something or someone or a specific thing, right, that's their belief. And it's also reflecting you. So remember, you can have anything you want. It's your self-imposed beliefs that only will be reflecting you. So if you're afraid of something, it's going to reflect you. You're going to see it in your feed. You're going to see people talking about it on TV, your friends, your family, all of that, okay? So that is what quibbles are, or AKA assumptions, limiting beliefs, right? That you can address and all in one fell swoop. How? By remembering that God is everything. And if God is in a donut and God is in a steak, God is in a pineapple or a vegan salad, God is all of that. It is all good. Your judgment is the only one that is you're imposing on those things or those people that indulge them. So remember, God is everything. And that is how everything's already blessed and everything is perfect for you to eat. I watched this TikToker really quick, and she said that I think it was her and her friend or her and her sister, decided they were like tired of dieting and fads and diets, and they just started saying that everything is a joy snack. And they just started, every time they were going to eat, they just started saying, this is a joy snack, this is a joy snack. And that simply by doing that, I don't know for how long, I don't remember, that simply by doing that they lost weight, and then they're healthy, and they just eat anything they want if it brings them joy. So if it brings them joy, they would eat it and declare it as a joy snack. But that again became their belief. Do you see? It wasn't just like, let me see this if it works, let me push this button, see if it works. But you're standing there pushing the button with the belief that it's not going to work. That's what I see a lot of people do. They're like, let me test this out and see if it works. Well, your belief is what manifests, not your action of let me see if this works. Do you see? Your belief, your assumption is the only thing that you ever have to change or address so that you get the results that you want. Okay, so I intend that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for liking my video and subscribing to The Rosey Life. I love coming on here and talking about these topics, and thanks for sending me your content ideas or your questions that you have. You can send me an email, and if I can, I'll make a video and address it. So, because if one person's asking, and then I know that many other people want to know the answer too. And it is fun, right? It's fun to do this. So I love you guys. Thank you again for your support and supporting The Rosey Life. And I will see you soon because you're all friggin' amazing. Bye.